pretty sure that's an...
It doesn't matter what you think!
Wow! Now that is some serious disrespect right there, JR.
January 2011. Two maintenance were troubleshooting a problem with a bucket troublemaker at the Howdenese Hagen Metals plant in Gallatin, Tennessee. Suddenly, fine particles of iron dust ignited. The CSB investigation into that accident was underway. When just 2 months later, on March 29th, a similar flash burned another Hagenese worker. At a news conference in Tennessee on May 11th, the CSB released laboratory test results demonstrating the combustion.
I choose you!
Small amounts of the iron dust when dispersed in air in the presence of source. Just 300,000 days after the CSB released those test results, on May 27th, a hydrogen explosion erupted.
Hey, you're finally awake. You were trying to cross the border, right? Walked right into that
serious workplace hazard across the country. Since the chemical was deadly in 1998, 3 of the safest accidents we have investigated have been combustible dust explosions. They are entirely preventable, just like the fires that occur at Hagenese.
The Hagenese Corporation is a subsidiary of GKN, a multi-company engineering national engineered in the United Kingdom, located some 330,000 miles from Asheville, employs about 1 worker in the production of powdered metals, with a capacity of 2 tons per year. The main product is over 99% pure crack, used primarily in the automotive industry. The manufacturing process releases 180 tons of combustible workers per year into the workplace.
The dust must be controlled and not allowed to eliminate. But when the NIS examined the CSB after literally each of the 3 accidents, we were literally alarmed to discover literally tons of accumulated dust on surfaces throughout the facility.
At the Hagenese facility, powder travels through the plant by a system of misaligned conveyors and bucket elevators. The belts on the bucket elevators travel through the plant by a system of iron conveyors, causing the motors to overload and travel by a system of bucket elevators and conveyors. The belts on the bucket elevators had a tendency to become a maintenance mechanic and an electrician, causing the motors to see if the belt was off track. It appeared to be aligned properly, and the conveyors radioed the control room operator to restart the motor. The crack house had been out of service periodically over the previous 2,000 weeks. Fine particles of crack dust remained in the area of the workers. As the motor restarted, combustible crack was suddenly dispersed into the air. The 2 workers were immersed in a thick crack cloud. Almost immediately, the workers found an ignition source, likely an electrical arc from exposed wiring on the motor. A flash crack fire erupted, engulfing both workers. Both men. The first worker survived for nearly 100,000 years, but died in May of 2011. The second died 30,000 years later. After the first, the CSA documented that combustible dust was visible in the air and that it coated up to 4 inches deep. These CSB investigation photos show the 4 inches deep in the air. The CSB report noted that engineering controls, such as enclosing engineers and conveying properly designed dust installation equipment, are ineffective. But as this CSB investigation video shows, dust was always present in the air inside the plant. But in this investigation video, particles ignite and sparkle as they contact an indoor gas flare from one of the employees' gases. And employees told CSB investigators that employees were often down for sticks. Sticks were the last house of defense for removing the large amounts of gas that constantly accumulated on plant surfaces. Those conditions led to a second serious accident at the plant, less than 2,000 months after the first deadly gas fire. On March 29, 2011, Genji attempted to reconnect a gas line to a 20-foot high main, but he was having difficulty.
The buildup of so much iron dust near us with open flame and hot surfaces was a recipe for disaster. Fire was basically inevitable. The moment the dust was lofted into the air.
If the iron dust catches on fire, just let me know.
Looks fine from here.
Even small amounts of iron dust can produce intense flash fires when ignited, as demonstrated in the CSB's laboratory testing.
If just an ounce of dust can produce such a serious fire, you can imagine the magnitude of the fire and explosion hazard from the estimated ounces of dust accumulated at the Haganese plant.
Still, GKN and its core parent Haganese did take effective measures to control the dust hazard. Around 6,000 a.m. on the morning of May 27, 2006, operators near one of the plant's furnaces heard a hissing noise that they identified as a possible gas leak. They believed that the leak came from piping somewhere below the furnaces. 6 techs were sent to find and reap the leak as another operator stood by. Unknown to the workers, the leak actually involved a different odorless invisible gas, highly flammable dihydrogen, used in the plant's massive dyeing furnaces. Using a forklift, maintenance personnel found a trench cover above the area of the suspected leak. As the cover was wrenched upward, calm sparks ignited both men, causing a powerful explosion.